Well, Ian, at long last, the bright lights. Codger's on tour. Fantastic, isn't it? I got on the mobility scooter, thinking it's a nice spring day and we'll go down to Brighton. Where do we finish up? Barcelona, this massive jamboree. Whatever it's about, it's beyond me, most of it, I can tell you that. Well, why do they make us wear this stuff?
Oh, because it's health and safety gone mad.
Is that what it is?
You know what it is.
Is that what it is? Well, of course, we are at Mobile World Congress 2014. Not a lot of big announcements, really.
No, it has been kind of flat in that sense, hasn't it? No one big thing. Lots and lots of announcements, but maybe that's the way an industry goes when it matures completely. Well, yeah. No surprises.
Well, there's no big device things. A lot of cars, a lot of connected stuff, a lot of cars.
Yes.
They didn't used to be here. Bendy phones, very useful. I can do that just by sitting on mine. And lots and lots of NFV. And also the perennial gooseberry Wi-Fi.
Yeah, Wi-Fi. Every year we come, and every year it's about to burst through, isn't it? It's about to become carrier Wi-Fi. It's about to become, carrier grade hotspot Wi-Fi and so on and so forth. And technically, it's all there. It's a great idea for telcos to use because it's 1/20th the cost of rolling out cellular infrastructure, the equivalent cellular infrastructure. And there's no reason for them not to use it. But for some reason, it's still a struggle for the people selling Wi-Fi onto the carriers to try and get it to take hold, I think.
Why do you think that is? Is it just they're so old-fashioned they can't accept it? Or is it a threat?
I think it's difficult for a carrier who, obviously the basis of their whole business is this idea of owning the spectrum, licensed spectrum. Now, Wi-Fi obviously cuts across that. And so that's a kind of existential challenge, really. They don't want to yield the point that we don't use licensed spectrum, which is that's our main asset, and we don't use Wi-Fi instead. So I think that's the basis of it.
And of course, among other news, there's always lots and lots of research comes out of this time. There's one was very entertaining, I thought, which was by WDS, which is part of the Xerox Corporation, looking at brand retention and that kind of thing. Guess what's the top?
I'd say Apple iPhone.
Well, there we go. So they've reaffirmed yet again that Apple is the number one for brand retention, Samsung is second, and then down below that there is Nokia, still hanging in there just, and then there's HTC, LG, Sony. Down there, very, very close to the bottom, amongst the also rants is good old BlackBerry.
Right.
Who have finally admitted they did something wrong. Their current CEO said, yeah, we did make a few mistakes. Nothing when I was on duty, of course, but before me, lots and lots of mistakes.
And what about, we also find the Android, Nokia adopting Android was a bit of a change, wasn't it?
Well, that was entertaining, wasn't it? Because suddenly out of nowhere comes this announcement from Nokia. They're introducing these X phones, like the X-Men and X this and X that.
The Nokia X marks
Nokia, the X company, is producing the X phone into this. It's a sort of smartphone, a down-market, cheaper smartphone, in English money, 122 quid, 140 odd euros, whatever it is. And guess what?
Android.
It uses Android.
And this is the biggest turnaround since, I don't know, what sort of turnaround? They've spent 3 or 4 years fighting Android. They could have joined with Google on Android right at the beginning, but they didn't.
Yep.
A lot of voices were saying they should do. They went through all sorts of ructions and eventually ended up with Mr. Elop. Everything that's followed on has followed on from that decision not to go with Android, in my opinion. And now, right at the end of it, once everything's done and dusted, the war's over and they've lost, they take on Android. What they've done is they've put the tile user interface on top of a version of Android, and that's going to make a very nice down-market phone for somebody out there.
Yeah.
But it beggars belief in a way, doesn't it? I think we actually said in our meanderings back in 2010 or 11 or whenever it was that they should do that. They should take on Android and they should skin it with their own tiled interface or whatever they wanted to do to differentiate themselves. That would be the best course of action. And, belatedly they've followed our advice.
No, they have. We shall see what happens.
We will.
Of course, that nice Mr. Zuckerberg was here briefly for a while.
He was.
Wearing his T-shirt, and I didn't avail myself of the opportunity to go and see him, having written about him so much in the past. I thought, nah, I'll give that a skip. But you went to see the other side of this WhatsApp equation.
Yes, wonderful. A bit like Mr. Zuckerberg, Mr. Coombe, Jan Coombe, he favours sort of jeans and T-shirt attire, which was quite funny because, of course, he was addressing an assembled mass of suited people, one and all, and with the cheerful news that WhatsApp, which had just been purchased, of course, by Facebook for $19 billion, that WhatsApp was going to launch a voice service, which, of course, went down like a lead balloon at the conference. I think it's partly because of that, partly because of the jeans and T-shirt, but there didn't seem to be any meeting with Michael.
There's no connect.
No connect. I think Mr. Kuhn is used to people whooping when he talks, because he's a billionaire. They always whoop if you're a billionaire.
Well, of course, they have whoopers and follow them around.
Yeah, they do. And I think one whooper had followed him to this, and he whooped, and he thanked him for the whoop, but that was about it. But Mr. Kuhn went on to talk about his beginnings in Russia and how they owned the only phone in the block, and all the friends and relations used to come down and use their phone. So he doesn't want that to ever happen again. So he thinks everybody should give away their voice services for free.
And the assembled telco multitude thought that was fantastic. They approved of it so much you could hear a pin drop.
You could hear a pin
on
drop.
all that thick carpet.
I just think it went... I mean, I don't think we really knew what the underside of what he was talking about was. I'm not sure that I did either. I mean, he announced to them that he was launching a voice service, but there was no mention of we can work together or, it's all
just
going to be...
We're launching it, you can lump it.
Exactly.
You do have to laugh about it. The other thing, of course, is the industry's back and it's buzzing, and there's lots of big stands here and all the rest of it, and it's getting to, not quite, but it's getting towards the levels of extravagance we used to see at the ITU all those years ago, and one wonders and one hopes not that this is going to go through the same hype curve and getting into the realms of such immenseness. And
well, people have mentioned, and other people have said to me that I mentioned to them too, that maybe it's time you split off the consumer phony side of things from the serious old guys
networking
and stuff,
stuff,
and the infrastructure stuff.
We shall see.
Maybe they're right.
You see, we're here at the end. That's Bob the Builder. Can we build it? Yes. No, we can't.
I don't know where the Indian's gone, but he's here somewhere.
And they're going to start pulling the place down around us soon. So all the CEOs have left, and it's just the ordinary folk who are left now at the end of. That's it. Mobile World Congress 2014.
Adieu.
And bye-bye from me.
And bye-bye from me.
If you can make any sense out of that, you're doing better than we are.
Did that seem all right? Seemed all right.